This is Oscar Bevis for the Stomping Ground, powered by Wow Hydrate and available on DAZN, where Miss Kate Scott was on broadcast last night. Brilliant,
she
as
did
always.
Incredible, didn't she? She did incredible.
She is incredible,
I'm
one of the best in the
proud
business.
of her. Absolutely, she did great, man. Even, the viewers may not notice, but it's certain sequences of the show that's a bit new to her. You can't even tell the way she walks through it and the way she leads the way. And she did extremely well last night. Another show she did extremely well, so I was proud of her. And that's another historian one for the books.
Yeah, I saw her at the African Football Awards now, doing the biggest fight of the year.
Yeah.
She's absolutely smashing it. So I will say congratulations to
Thank
Kate
you,
when
brother.
I catch up with her. I said
Yes.
one of the best in the business, and one of the best in the business joins me.
Absolutely.
Malik King Scott.
Yes.
Usyk Fury 2 last night, the calm after the storm. What did you make of the rematch, Malik?
Oh, I thought it was a classic in its own right. It's very complex when you fight someone like Usyk because he's a smaller heavyweight. So when he's fighting bigger people, they think the strategy of the fight should be big men should just go to him and muscle him. Well, it's a reason that every big man is not just going to him and muscling him, and that's because it's a system behind that madness. And the system is good balance, a master at distance control, a harder puncher than he's given credit for, because he hit you with the shot you don't see, especially from the blind side. And he proved that not only that he can hurt a big man on several occasions, but he also can get him out of there. And last night was no robbery. I thought Fury fought well, but I didn't think he won. Usyk is still champion, man, and he did a great job. He handled it all very well. I'm very proud of him.
Was last night a closer fight than the first fight, do you think?
Well, the first fight was a bit closer because I would say when people think about the first fight, they only think about one good moment that Usyk had, which was the 9th round. When they think about this fight, they think about a few good moments and a less few moments that Fury had. They think about more. At one time, boxing is about ring generalship, and it's also about ring generalship. It's about who's controlling the tempo and the pace of the fight. If you're allowing a smaller man to constantly back you up, if you're allowing a smaller man to wiggle his way out of clinches, if you're allowing a smaller man to steal combinations on you sometimes through your small guard, through your high guard, then you really can't expect no wide decision to be given your way. And everything I just named is something that Usyk did very, very well last night. He didn't make any silent agreements. He used a lot of clinch refusals during close quarters. He was on point, man. It was a good night for him.
I know Tyson come in, I think, 55 pounds heavier than the first fight. Granted, he weighed in wearing like 3 layers of clothes, phone in the pocket, jewellery around the neck. But we expected that to come with an aggression. And yes, there were points where he was on the front foot. There were some real positive pockets of aggression. But did it look like his body just couldn't match what he wanted to do? Perhaps like a lighter Tyson Fury of years gone by might have been able to.
I thought Tyson Fury made a few good adjustments. I thought he wasn't getting hit with the left hook because his right hand was glued, and his hand positioning was very much better with his right hand. His right hand was glued to the right side, so the hook couldn't get around as much. A lot of times that Usyk would try to exit out going to Tyson's left, Tyson would cut him off with the left hook and then fire the straight right hand down the middle. So he did make adjustments. They did make adjustments, but it just wasn't enough to be somebody as complete as Usyk.
I'm going to ask a question that hasn't been solved yet. 23 game plans have been written up for Oleksandr Usyk. None have yet been successful.
Yeah.
How do you go about beating Oleksandr Usyk? Sounds like a ridiculous question for one to ask.
I think, well, first it started in preparation. I think who's ever fighting him, any opposition, have to realize the second half of the fight is the most important fight to him. So you have to be willing to drill while you're tired. I'm talking about when you're extremely fatigued in training, because when you're extremely fatigued or when you hit that mark where your mannerisms start to go, that's when Usyk actually is getting stronger. So it comes from preparation. I don't know how much preparation these guys are doing before they fight Usyk. I don't know how far they pushing themselves when they get fatigued, when they get tired past the limits. But it starts in preparation. In preparation, your workouts shouldn't start when you're fighting Oleksandr Usyk until you're extremely tired, because he's in it for the long haul. He's not a sprint runner, he's a marathon runner. He's not in it for the first half, he's in it for the second half. And if you notice, the second half of the fights, when guys are coming down, he's actually getting stronger and coming on. And that's good condition, that's strong mentality. But I've been around this guy in so many of his own training camps. I see how dedicated he is to his training. He trains for the long run. He trains for the last 3 rounds of the championship rounds. He trains for the second half of the fight. He trains for the side that when people are second-guessing themselves and they have bad mannerisms, he gets stronger off of that because of his preparation. You know what I mean? So I just feel as though coming preparation, it comes across like people that's boxing Usyk, especially these bigger guys, I don't know if they really drilling while they're tired in the gym. I don't know if they pushing themselves past the limit, but they should, because when you think about Usyk, you should think about somebody that's basically killing themselves every day in training camp. He suffers a lot in training camp, and he do that for bright nights he could shine on like last night.
Yeah. There's something to be said for, I guess, the way he studies a fighter during the fight. You all know, as a fighter who's fought at the elite level yourself, you have to adapt as the fight goes on. But it seems like Usyk takes about 3 or 4 rounds, not foot off the pedal. I know, like you said, it's the second half of the fight where he really kind of comes into his own. But then first 2 or 3, I know this was a rematch, but then first 1, 2, 3 rounds, he really kind of processes, almost like downloads what he's seeing in front of him. Would that be a fair assessment?
That's a very fair assessment, and was very uncomfortable for those guys when he's doing that. He's putting foot pressure on them. So he's fine. Pardon me, he's fine with them throwing punches and missing or hitting his gloves, because if you notice in the first half, he was making investments on Tyson's core for the first 3-4 rounds. A left hand there, a jab there, a left hand back there to the center of the court. Those shots add up. That's real estate over and over and over being put into the, you know what I mean? Yeah. Put into the bank. And he expects that payoff on the second half. He's not hitting you with a body shot in the first 3-4 rounds so you could fall from a good liver shot. No. He's hitting you with a good body shot in the second round so he could take your legs away and take your mannerisms away for around 6 or 7 round. He's hitting you with a hard body shot in the 3rd or 4th round because he's thinking about what he want to do to you in the 8th or 9th round. It's all a real estate. It's all to make you extremely weak for his onslaught on the second half of the fight. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, yeah, he has a plan. That could come across very risk-taking because it's like he's giving up rounds. Yeah. And then even those rounds he's so-called giving up, most of them he's really even winning too. He may not be winning them outright, but he's pretty much clear the winner of those rounds. They're
still quite close. Even rounds he's giving up a close round.
Absolutely, because it's his foot pressure. I'm not coming from a place of someone that is talking about his foot pressure from what I read or what I've seen. I've dealt with it for training camp after training camp after training camp with them. He's the type of guy you box after 2 or 3 rounds and you'd be breathing so hard, you'd be like, he didn't even really hit me with nothing. Yeah, but he's been in your face and he will not leave you alone.
He is something else. He is absolutely something.
Is.
He's something
special. He don't
leave
you alone. Something special, yes.
In terms of the scorecards, I know, we as boxing fans like to focus or want to focus on what a brilliant fight it was last night, what a brilliant 2 fights it's been in the saga between Fury and Usyk. We've got to talk about the scorecards. Frank Warren at the post-fight press conference, I know he would have been a bit emotional kind of immediately, screaming the word robbery. He said it was a disgrace that the judges only gave 4 rounds to Tyson. What's your response to that?
Too far. I go too far. Nothing was a disgrace. But Frank has to take a stand. He's always going to fight for Fury. That wasn't nowhere near robbery. Nowhere near. I talked to my people at home, some that was watching the fights. They only gave Fury 3 rounds. It's some people here that only gave him 3 rounds. Fury believed he should get every round that was close. That's not how boxing goes. It's not like he went in there and had as many good rounds as he did the first fight. No, some of those rounds was even. Like a lot of those rounds was like you didn't know who it was, and you shouldn't be favored because you think you should. You should be favored because you actually won in the rounds. I believe Oleksandr Usyk won last night, and he won, to me, clearly. But Fury was better quality-wise than he was in the first fight. He didn't do a lot of quantity, a lot of movement, a lot of playing, a lot of punches and bunches, but the work that he was doing was quality work. And you'll never see nobody 275 pounds or 280 pounds with a better base, better reflexes, better so much in the repertoire like Fury has. So he has nothing to have his head down about. I know it's a bit frustrating. You lose to the same smaller guy 2 times. You went out there in the limit, said you was going to destruct this guy. And what you really went out there and did was you was a boxer. He was out there thinking. He didn't ultimately impose himself on Usyk, but it's not because he didn't want to. It's because Usyk's style doesn't allow it. Like, you know what I mean? Usyk, Fury had every intent to go in there and do what he said he was going to do, but when you get in front of Oleksandr Usyk, it's just different than the press conferences and the media week you've been talking and saying what you're going to do. It's a reason that the Joe Joyce, it's the reason that Anthony Joshua, it's the reason that Daniel Dubois, it's the reason that Tyson Fury, it's the reason that these big guys are not getting in there and imposing themselves. Forget what I'm saying. Why aren't they doing it? Why are guys that's very big and stronger than him, that's not natural boxers, why are they going in there trying to outbox one of the most intelligent boxers of all time? It's because they're put in a position where they're seeing something they never seen before, and they're trying to figure things out on how to deal with it. And while they're trying to figure things out on how to deal with it, 1 round is gone, 2 rounds is gone, 3 rounds is gone. 4, now they're tired from trying to figure it out. Now guess what? Usyk is coming on more because he's stronger now. And now you're getting hit by blind shots, and now you're actually hurt by a smaller guy. And that was just a whole mess. You know what I mean? So
I get where you're coming from.
Yes,
I understand from the perspective you're talking about. And it's also made me realise Joe Joyce in the amateurs, Daniel Dubois, Fury twice, AJ twice. He's taking the mick out of us Brits a little bit.
Oh, yeah, he's really having his way. I said years ago.
And to be fair, who isn't he having his way against?
Well, he never had his way against Deontay Wilder. He's never had his way against Deontay Wilder, the hardest puncher in the history of the sport. And 2025 is coming up, so we'll see how things go.
What's your vision of how that fight plays out? I know you'd have a game plan you'd want to cook up, and I know you won't give too much away. But when you see that fight, what's your vision of how things play?
Well, first of all, what you can't do is play the boxing game with him. But you also, it's like a medium happy. You can't think because you're big, you're just getting ready to go in there and impose yourself. You got to be, I wouldn't say in the 50-50, but if you're a bigger man, you got to be in the 70-30 with him. You have to be in the 70-30 position where you're always in a position to punch. Your mannerisms is always good. After he get his off, if you're not going to punch right back, at least your mannerisms have to be on point. And you have to keep in mind, if you're not hurting him, he's going to continue to walk to you. So you got to be in it for the marathon, the way how he is. Even if you're a knockout artist, you have to be thinking for the long run, not the short run. Because if you're thinking for the short run and that don't work out, he's a nightmare when he gets you in the long run distance.
How is Deontay?
Oh, he's good, man.
Yeah,
highly blessed, man. He's good. Had a couple surgeries, recovering now, and he's very, very well, man. And
as hungry as ever, because I know there was, and this is, I guess kind of paper talk, a lot of talk that he might want to pack it in. He's made a lot of money. He's been a world champion, but the hunger still burns inside Deontay.
Listen, coming from where he come from, doing the things that he's done, earning the revenue that he's earned, is he the same hungry guy that we've seen that first 2-3 years? Probably not. He found different motivations. He found different inspiration and things that motivate him and things like that. But what I'm more happy about is what he came in this game for, he got. He's extremely healthy. He got out alive. The revenue was high up, and if he want to continue this, like I know that he do, because fighting is in his heart. Like I said, 2025 is about to be a big year for him. He has tons of options. Even though you guys haven't seen him since we last took that loss, he still has tons of options because he's big time boxing.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
One of the most, if not the most exciting heavyweight of this era.
Yeah.
Final one.
Yes.
Obviously, Eddie was banging the drum last night for Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. Not quite the fight that it once would have been when it could have been an undisputed fight. But Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua, still a massive fight, mega for us guys in the UK.
Yeah.
A fight that interests you?
Absolutely. Yeah, I would love to see them two in the ring with each other at Wembley.
Who would you put as favourite right now? Obviously,
Keith Scott hosting it.
I'm sure it would be.
Yeah,
who else would they choose? Who else would they choose? Would you have to favour Tyson in that fight if we're going on current form?
Oh, if we're going off of last fights, yes. If we're going off a couple last fights, we have to go with Tyson. But it depends on which AJ show up. But I also think styles make fights, and Tyson is not who he was 3 years ago. And to me, AJ had a bad outing against Dubois, but I done seen AJ come back from having bad outings too and look even impressive. If he would just be AJ that fought Pulev, that AJ would give anybody hell. The Anthony Joshua that fought Pulev, real big man style, fighting not tall but fighting long and posing himself from a distance, having his lead hand up, so whoever have to get past his lead hand, they will have the price to pay. That type of system, yeah, it's a good fight. It's something that I would definitely look forward to, and I'll be geeked out about.
Yeah. The mention of Daniel Dubois made me think, Daniel Dubois and Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
I am all in for that fight.
Yeah, barn burner.
My
barn
word.
Burner. And it's one thing, I'm sure you agree with this, it's one thing for sure, it's not going 12 rounds.
I can imagine so.
Yeah.
Malik, I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yes.
Final one. I know you're going to the UK.
Yeah.
For Christmas this year. Anything nice planned? What's on the agenda?
Doing a few tutorials, training a couple fighters, up and coming guys, and just spreading love and spreading knowledge and spreading craft, man. That's all I do.